Hi everyone, I'm Darren and I am your everyday financial advisor, here to help you on your journey to financial success. Today we are going to talk about the elephant in the room, advisor fees. So the question out there is, should I pay advisor fees? Well, yeah, you should. Doesn't it make sense that if you want professional advice, you probably have to pay for it? So let's look at a different type of example. You're sitting at home with your spouse, you're having dinner in the kitchen, you look around, you say to your spouse, I think we need to renovate the kitchen. And your spouse says, that's an awesome idea, and you know what? I'll save us all kinds of money, I'll do it myself. What kind of gong show do you think that's going to turn out to be? Now, I get it. There's people out there that are really talented. They're real great do-it-yourselfers, but they are way, way in the minority. 95, 98% of us couldn't renovate a kitchen. And there's reasons why we can't. We don't have the proper tools. We don't have the discipline. We don't have the same kind of knowledge. We don't have the experience. And at the end of the day, it just makes way more sense to pay someone who knows what they're doing to do it for us, because the results are going to end up being a lot better. Hiring a professional financial advisor is the same thing. Yeah, there's a cost to it, but that cost is going to be more than worthwhile in the end. Now, there's one big but. You have to have a great financial advisor. All financial advisors out there basically charge fees, but if you have an advisor who's not adding any value to the relationship, then maybe the fee doesn't make sense then. But does that mean you should go and do it on your own? No, you probably should just leave that advisor and go find a better one that's going to bring value to the table and make those fees worthwhile. Now, I know that you've all seen the commercials for the Robo Advisors. They all say the same thing. Do this with us. You're going to see returns 30% greater at the end of the day than you would using an advisor, because you're going to stop paying all these fees. And the reality is that if you're simply going on the basis that all your advisor is doing for you is putting you in the investments and doing nothing else, they're right. But that's not what great advisors do. Investment advice and financial advice can kind of get broken down into three categories. We call it alpha, beta, and gamma. So beta is basically the advisor getting to know you, going through our know your client rules, assessing your risk tolerances, finding out what kind of platform you should be on. Alpha is actually picking the investments that will go into that platform. So what really comes down to being important is what we call gamma. And gamma is that advice you get over and above just the investment advice. It's what financial planners and really good investment advisors do for you. It's what that value they bring to the table. And guess what? You're not going to get any of that gamma from these robo advisors. They don't give you tax advice. They don't give you estate planning advice. They don't do financial plans for you. When they get to know you, well, they don't get to know you, right? They can't figure out if there's problems in your financial situation that have to be acted upon. All they are is an algorithm that you plug in your information, they assess your risk tolerance, and they spit out, here's the investments you should go in. And that's all you get. Now, sure enough, you could call their hotlines, right, and talk to that person who's making, $17, $18 an hour to give you investment advice and the most basic advice possible. Is that really a good investment? Is that really the kind of person you want to be going to for investment advice? I don't think so. So, I can just say this. That's my opinion, some people will say. But the fact is, there are studies out there that back this up. There's research out there. And there's 3 research studies that have been done recently that all basically came back with the exact same conclusion, that an investment advisor is going to generate returns on average per year over your lifetime of 1.59 to 3% better than a robo advisor. And that's because of all that extra value added that they bring into the picture. Now, how does an advisor get a 1.59 to 3% better annual rate of return over your lifetime to you? It might not be directly in the investment. Okay, so it's not the case of, the robo advisors earning 7 and the investment advisors earning you 10. What it's coming down to is the investment advisor is bringing things to the table that are going to affect your cash flow more positively, during your lifetime, during retirement, whatever the case is. So things like tax advice. They're going to recognize situations where you might be able to take advantage of a certain tax rules. Estate planning is a big one. And I got a great example of this. I was working with a couple clients. We did a financial plan on them. We went through the plan, and at the end of the day, we found out that at the end of their life expectancy, they were going to have a pretty significant tax burden. So I put together an estate plan that I thought would work for them. And really what it came down to was just shifting money from one investment product to a different type of investment product. It didn't affect their retirement at all. They were going to live exactly the way they wanted to in their retirement. They were going to have the same cash flow in their retirement. The difference is that their estate was going to end up with $217,000 more by simply moving assets around. $217,000 pays for an awful lot of fees. Now, that isn't something they're going to see directly on the returns of their investment, but their estate was going to see it at the end of the day. It's a big chunk of money. Other places we have seen where advisors can come in and make a difference would be an advisor might put together a financial plan on you and recognize that there was an area of your planning that's of concern. Typically, it might be, say, risk management planning. They may give you solutions on how to protect yourself in that way. That can have a dramatic impact on the results of your planning. Your financial advisor may, in the process of going over your planning, recognizing that you have a debt issue. You have these high debt payments, maybe a mortgage. He'll introduce ideas to you to help reorganize that debt. Maybe it's a matter of applying for a new mortgage at that particular time and putting all your credit cards on it. Eliminating that side of your debt so your overall payments go down, your debt stays the same, but all of a sudden you're paying a lot less each month, so you have more money available to invest. A robo-advisor can't do that for you. They don't do that for you. Now, can you do it yourself? Sure, there's people out there that can do it themselves. I'm not going to say that everyone should hire an advisor. And I know a few people that are doing their own investments and are doing a really great job on them. But they all have a couple things in common. So the first thing I've noticed they all have in common is they're all extremely analytical. They love to read. They love doing analysis. They love doing research. It's something that they have a real interest in. They like crunching numbers. That's important to them. The second thing they have in common is all of them, they live and breathe and love financial planning. So as an example, a Sunday afternoon in the summer, I'm going to be out playing golf because that's my recreation, right? They're going to be at home probably Googling, tax strategies or analyzing a stock or analyzing a portfolio, and that's their form of recreation. That's what they really love to do. So the people I've seen that are really successful investing on their own, they're 100% into it. They're not the type of person that simply, pushes the numbers into the algorithm, it spits out the results, they throw their money in the investment, and they don't go back and review it. Those are the people that typically don't do well. Another advantage to paying an advisor, whatever service fee you're paying them, is that they can be your gatekeeper. And this is a huge one. So when we went through the last crisis and the markets were falling back in 2020, all great advisors, they get out to their clients, they send emails, they try to let them know what's going on and to try to keep them calm. They open themselves up to discussions, whether they're calling clients or saying, give me a call if you need to talk to me. And in that process of me calling clients, I had 4 clients call me. And all 4 of them wanted to do the same thing. They were panicking. We were about 3 weeks into the big drop, and they wanted out. They couldn't handle it anymore. They wanted to cash out their investments and just ride it out. And I basically talked all 4 of them off the cliff. We discussed, why they were in these investments, how these investments have responded in the past to crises like this, how they were going to come back, how they had a long-term strategy. And at the end of the day, they were satisfied with that, and they regained their confidence, and they got control of their emotions. Now, how many of those people, if they had cashed in, do you think a week later when the markets really kind of bottomed out would have said, Darren, let's put all our money back into it? 0. Okay? 0. None of them would have done that because they didn't know when the bottom was going to be. They would have just been more stressed out at that point. And the result is when we saw the markets coming back, it wasn't a straight V right back up. It was a gradual up and down. I mean, we'd have one great day and then a couple really mediocre days and then a couple really bad days. Then we'd have a couple really great days, then a bad day. I mean, it was kind of a back and forth thing. And we slowly started seeing the markets come back until they started to accelerate. The reality is if those people had cashed out, they likely would have bought back in at a price higher than they cashed out. Your advisor can act as that gatekeeper. Your advisor is there to help you through those tough times, figuring out what to do, helping you get your emotions under control, because investing can be emotional. But if you don't have that gatekeeper, if you're looking after your investments yourself, I would bet if all 4 of those people were doing their own investments, they would have cashed them in. And then they would have bought in too late, and they would have had even greater losses. In fact, all those people ended up making money last year just because of how well the markets did come back. The bottom line is this. For the vast majority of us, you're way, way better off paying a financial advisor a service fee, some sort of advisor fee to give you good advice. But you have to have a great advisor. If your advisor's not bringing any value to the table after that initial investment discussion, then it's time to look for a new advisor. I hope this video has helped you out. I hope it's answered some of your questions. Please, you can do me a huge favor. I don't like the algorithms run by Robo Advisors, but I do like the algorithms run by YouTube. And so you can help out my algorithm a lot if you give me a thumbs up on this video, if you hit that subscribe button, and if you make some comments below. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about, and I'll see if I can bring it to you. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.